Our story begins one Saturday morning in the year 1880. Young Freddie Fudzy is headed for the old fishing hole.
Freddie!
Uh-oh. Too bad. Freddie has to help his mother make soft soap to sell to their friends and neighbors.
Shucks, if I didn't have to work. Think of all the fun I could be having. Gee.
Freddie tries to figure out an easier and quicker way to make soap. He goes to work to make his dreams of fun come true. After years of working night and day, Freddie's experiments bring success.
Soap in cakes.
Pretty soon, word gets around to the housewives who want shorter, easier wash days and cleaner clothes. Freddie's soap is just what they need. He invests his profits in larger quarters and new equipment to make enough soap to satisfy the demand. Finally, his dreams come true. Time off for fun on Saturday. Hey, Freddie, a guy can fish anytime.
23 skidoo.
Goodbye, Freddie.
Hopelessly in love, he wants to make good in a big way. So, back to work. As the company grows, it brings the railroad and other businesses to town. Increased property taxes from the thriving community help to build better schools, streets, parks, libraries, playgrounds, and waterworks. Taxes even help to provide more and better governmental services, such as police protection. Before long, Freddie becomes a successful businessman. And, incidentally, a successful husband and father. Fudzy's expanding company creates all kinds of jobs that never existed before. To increase production and sales, Fudzy builds up a strong labor management team. Each year, he invests a portion of his profits in research to develop better soap that can be made to sell at lower prices. The Fudzy Company continues to grow with the years because it makes a good soap, which in competition with others sells at a fair price. Competition forces each manufacturer to improve his product, to sell it for less, and to give the consumer more for $1 than his competitor. And Fudzy is hard to beat. Finally, he gets so many orders he realizes that one factory simply can't meet the demand. His profit motive starts sparking to figure out a way to increase production. He forms a corporation and issues stock to raise money to build factories from coast to coast. Fudzy's employees have faith in his management and back him with their savings. Banks loan depositors money to help finance the expansion program. Insurance companies loan the funds of their policyholders to help build the factories. Stock exchanges act as a clearinghouse for people from all walks of life to buy securities. Before long, everybody gets plenty of soap. At last, Fudzy's success is complete. Soap City. The profit motive, which drove Fudzy to accomplish so much, may bring out the evil as well as the good.
Hello?
What's the
boy, I've got a great idea.
Between us, we control 70% of the country's soap sales.
Yeah, but... Quiet. Let's see what's cooking.
I smell trouble. Let's raise and fix our prices.
Controlling 70% of the market where we do cleanup.
Terrific. We'll make millions. Millions.
That's not right. Besides, it's illegal.
Quiet. Okay, Sam. It's a deal.
You'll be sorry.
Fudsy and Sam Sudso raise and fix prices, but the result is not what they expect. A competitor comes along with a good bar of soap that sells at a lower price. Since shoppers always seek maximum value, only the lower priced soap sells, while Fudsy and Sam Sudso's profits turn into losses. 99 times out of 100, competition works. When it doesn't, the government steps in to prevent monopolistic attempts.
That was a tough break. Now the next time...
Only a business operating at a steady profit can give its workers security and employee benefits. Operating at a profit, a business can provide the employee with comfortable, colorful working conditions, high wages and steady employment, first aid and health protection, accident and life insurance, time off for vacations. The employee working for a profitable business can maintain a savings account, own his own home, and have plenty of leisure to enjoy the peace and quiet of family life. When investors receive fair dividends, they are eager to supply industry with a steady flow of capital to create new tools and plants, which in turn create new jobs. With business prosperous and employment high, the farmer has a ready and profitable market for the sale of his produce. When businesses all over the country operate at a steady profit, our economic health is tops. Billions of dollars in taxes paid out of profits flow into local, state, and federal governments. The profit motive has been the driving force back of the growth of American industry. Only the American system of free enterprise will give the young people of today the freedom of opportunity to develop ideas which will make a better way of life for the children of tomorrow. Joe, the king of the workers of the world.
Hi, folks.
Joe's the king because he can buy more with his wages than any other worker on the globe. Now, what makes it possible for Joe to earn such a good living? He's no smarter than workers in other countries.
Are you kidding?
He's no stronger than workers in other lands.
Oh, yeah? Well, just watch me.
Just because Joe's an American doesn't mean...
Yeah? Well, being an American is the best thing on the... Oh! My back!
Sure, being an American is great, but how could you be superior to any foreigner when you or your folks might be any one of a dozen different races or religions? So, if you're no Superman, it must be the American way of doing things that makes you the luckiest guy in the world.
I don't think I'm so lucky.
You don't? Well, let me show you.
Hey, what's that gadget? Television?
No, it's a time machine. Just pull that lever. You'll see how people worked 100 years ago.
Hey, this I like.
Oh, that's too far back. Try again. We want to stop at 1850.
Who's the character?
That's your grandfather, Joe.
Oh.
He had to work 69 hours a week to earn a living because he had only inexpensive hand tools and his own strength to help him make things. Your grandfather was a powerful man, yet his strength equaled only 1/10 of a horsepower. You have hundreds of horsepower in this costly giant of a machine to multiply your strength and efficiency 1,000 times. This makes it possible for you to earn more than any worker in history. And still have leisure time each day to enjoy life.
So I'm lucky. But what about the rich guy who does nothing while I do the work?
True, there are rich people who contribute nothing. And there are poor people who contribute the same. But most of the invested capital that buys the tools you use comes from your fellow Americans. 40 million of us have money in the banks. 70 million of us own insurance policies. Over 15 million of us invest savings in corporation stocks and bonds, which help to finance industry. Each year, the people of America invest billions of dollars to create new plants and equipment. This invested capital buys the tools which make a man's labor worth more because he produces more. In China, for example, where there is practically no capital available for investment in plants or tools, a man's labor is not worth very much. A coolie takes 10 days to move 10 gallons of kerosene 100 miles at a freight cost of 10 cents a gallon. An American railroad worker takes only 2 hours to move 100,000 gallons of kerosene 100 miles at a freight cost of 1 cent a gallon. The coolie makes 10 cents a day. An average American railroad worker makes $10 a day, or 100 times more than the coolie. The average railroad worker has the benefit of a $20,000 investment in equipment. The Chinese coolie's equipment is worth only 10 cents. With constant improvement in expensive tools and the skill to use them, the value of any man's labor can be multiplied many times. Naturally, the people in this country who invest their savings with industry expect dividends. No dividends, no investments. Without new capital each year to finance new plants, tools, and equipment, labor and management would soon find themselves in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, without capital to buy new tools, I might not do so good. But look what a new invention did to my grandpa. For 25 years, he knocks his brains out in the wagon works. Then along comes the gas buggy. Need I tell you what happened to Grandpop?
The history of our country proves that new inventions create thousands of jobs for everyone they displace. So it wasn't long before your grandfather had a better job, had more pay for less work. Our industrial progress is largely the result of the competitive struggle between companies to capture the market to increase profits. Huge sums are spent each year to make a better product to sell for less. Yet, regardless of how much money is spent to develop a new idea, there is often failure. When research proves successful, everyone shares in the accomplishment. The business which fails to give the consumer as much value as a competitor gives often goes bankrupt. However, on a national scale, competition gives the greatest good to the greatest number by continually producing more and better goods at lower prices. The American way of doing things makes it possible for more people to own their own homes. We're only 7% of the world's population, but we have 50% of the radios. We have 54% of the world's telephones. Americans own practically all the refrigerators in existence to give them plenty of ice quickly and easily. Bathtubs, we've got 92% of them. Most of us have the leisure time to enjoy the peace and quiet of the beautiful countryside as we drive about in 72% of the world's automobiles.
I told you to turn at the last corner. You don't eat it. You eat it. I don't like it. I want to get candy bar.
Under the protection of our freedoms, American labor, management, and capital, the greatest production team in the history of mankind, have made the United States the industrial master of the world. Capital must continue to provide industry with the funds to create new tools and plants. Labor and management must continue to increase the production of better goods at lower prices so that more people will be able to buy the things that make life easier and happier for all of us. Then Joe will continue to be the king of the workers of the world.
You said it, brother.
Wages and prices often play leapfrog. One jumps up, then the other, which means a steady rise in our cost of living. The Dilly Doll Factory is a happy shop. But Joe, our doll painter friend, seems to be a little down in the mouth, which even shows in his work. Joe is pretty discouraged because the high cost of living makes it harder and harder to make ends meet.
Hiya, Joe, old boy.
Hello.
Better look in that envelope.
Wow, a raise! And just in time to buy the kid a birthday present. What'll I get? Let's see. A dress? Bicycle? Roller skates? Shoes? A book? A doll? A doll! What's the price, miss? I work in a factory that makes this doll. $2 is too much.
I'm very sorry, sir, but your company charged us more for this shipment, so we had to raise our selling price.
We got a wage increase, all right, but it couldn't raise the price that much. It just takes a little wood, rubber, paint, cloth, and a phony wig to make that doll. There's only about 10 cents worth of materials in the whole thing. You pirates, crooks, bandits, you robbers!
You're right about the cost of raw materials in that doll, about 10 cents worth. Raw materials in practically everything we buy are worth little until labor transforms them into finished products. For example, how much do you think the raw materials cost in that car?
Oh, about $300.
You've got a surprise coming. It takes 4.5 tons of coal, 2 3/4 tons of iron ore, 50 pounds of cotton, 14 pounds of cured and finished wool, aluminum, zinc, lead, copper, and countless other raw materials to make an automobile. Without the addition of labor cost, these things are worth about $22. The raw materials require the accumulated labor of thousands of people in countless crafts to transform them into a finished automobile. Miners dig the coal and iron ore. Railroad and maritime workers transport these materials to the steel mill, where workers convert the ore into finished steel. The wages of railroad workers add to the value of steel when it is transported to automobile factories. The cotton that goes into a car accumulates labor cost from the farmer who tills the soil, from workers who sow the seed, and help to raise the cotton. Wages paid to other workers add to the value of the cotton as it is moved from the field to the cotton gin, where it is processed. Other workers transport the cotton to the automobile factory. The wool that is used to make a car is worth little while it is still on the sheep. When the labor cost of a sheep shearer is added, the value of the wool is increased by his wages. When all of the parts and materials finally reach the factory for assembly, the labor cost of automobile workers must be added to the price of the car. In the $1,500 automobile, direct and indirect labor costs add up to approximately $1,200, or over 80% of the selling price. That's before taxes. And what happens to the other 20%, or $300? Raw material cost, $22. Profit to producers of raw materials and allied industries, $89. Profit to part manufacturers, $47. Profit to local dealer, $77. Profit to car manufacturer, $65. Now, when you add $400 for taxes, the cost is $1,900 to the buyer. Like the dolls you make, an automobile has a low raw material cost and a high labor cost, and that goes for practically everything we buy.
Oh, yeah? Well, what's the labor cost in a buck's worth of steak?
We'll start back at the farm where Bully Boy was raised. The selling price of meat has to include the labor cost in producing the feed, in building fences, and constructing housing for our animal friend. It takes a lot of costly care to get Bully Boy ready for the market. Wages have to be paid to railroad workers who provide our friend with care and courtesy on his way to the stockyards. Preparing Bully Boy's anatomy for the butcher shop costs money, too. The The family butcher figures in his wages every time he sells a thick, juicy steak. Forgetting taxes for a moment, the labor cost in a dollar's worth of meat adds up like this. Workers raising beef, 24 cents. Transportation workers, 1/2 cent. Packing house workers, 42 cents. Meat delivery drivers, 1/2 cent. Butcher shop workers, 18 cents. The other 15 cents goes in profits to the retailers, the packers, allied industries, and to the farmers and ranchers. Most of the things we buy accumulate direct and indirect labor costs that add up to 85% of the selling price before taxes are added. Generally speaking, a wage raise means a corresponding rise in prices, unless productivity is increased proportionately.
What do you want, a guy with 4 arms? 4 arms? Say, I got a sensational idea.
To expand productivity, labor and management must work together to develop new ideas and techniques. To expand productivity, capital must finance the creation of more efficient tools and plants. The production of more and better goods at lower costs means that when you get a wage raise, it's a real raise.
A raise? A raise? I want to buy a doll. How much?
Now you've got a real wage raise because you can buy more with what you earn. With increased productivity, wages can keep ahead of prices.
Hello, my good people. Today I'm going to tell you about the bountiful blessings that will be ours when each of us produces for the welfare of the other. Nature itself furnishes many examples of efficiently controlled and planned economies. Why, even the ants have eliminated competition and live according to a master plan of coordinated cooperation.
Boy, would I like to be an ant.
So I say to you, go to the ant, study his ways and be wise. Study his ways and be wise. Be wise.
I say what?
Be wise.
I mean, who are you?
I, sir, am proud to be called an ant.
Oh, an ant. An ant? Hey, you guys got a plan where the government manages everything and the people get all the benefits, huh?
Oh, indeed, yes. Our planners give us everything we need. Would you care to come with me to Antrolia?
This I gotta see.
This is our first stop.
Who are the characters?
They're the coordinators for the planning board.
And what's that gadget?
A job classifier.
Boy, oh boy, me for one of those soft jobs.
No fair tilting the machine, chum. Just let the little ball do its work.
Our planning board invented this mechanical wizard to give each and every ant the freedom to choose his own job. It operates on the principle of personality electronics. The force impulses of your attitudes are transmitted to the ball, causing it to drop into the proper slot.
Hey, this machine made a mistake. I'm an auto mechanic. Here's my union card.
From now on, you belong to the state union. Something bothering you?
Oh, no, no. My friend is happy to be chosen for membership in our glorious state union. Yes, sir. Good day. Good day.
Tail him.
I don't think I like being told where I gotta work.
Now, old fellow, one must give up a little freedom if one expects the government to take care of one. Sound logical?
Sounds confusing to me. Hey, free movies. Hope it's Hetty Gable.
The March of Vance brings you intimate views of our all-wise, all-powerful planning board, busily engaged in breaking down the budget for the coming year. Now we shall leave our exalted leaders for a moment and travel around our happy country, observing our plan in action. No citizen of Antrolia has to pay for transportation. Everyone has the right to a free ride. Here, happy workers enjoy a free paid vacation. And every angler is guaranteed at least one fish. Our Minister of Production has just released this year's quota, 10 splendid modern radios to those lucky citizens holding ration books. Now, we take you to our State Radio News Bureau, where our favorite broadcaster brings you the news of the outside world. Flash, election returns. Our planning board has just been re-elected for the 50th consecutive term.
Hey,
Great picture. Very inspiring.
how do you know? You were asleep.
Our state-produced pictures are always great. Come on, we have to go to work.
Say, did you vote for those guys?
Oh, indeed, yes. I must show my gratitude for all the planning board has done for me. Besides, nobody dares vote against them anyway.
Don't you ever disagree with them?
Well, sometimes I do have a few faint doubts.
Hey, who did that? Let's get the bum.
Never mind, it's for my own good. Thank you very much for the gentle reminder. So sorry I had forgotten. Thoughts against the plan aren't allowed. Couldn't have that, no sirree. Well, here's where we work.
Music while you work. Well, that's pretty nice.
There's our machine. That's our quota.
Are they kidding? Why, that quota's a cinch. And with music yet. Very nifty. Say, that's a better tempo. Wow, that quota keeps going up.
So it does. So it does.
The more we make, the more dough we get?
Oh, no, the state gives you a medal if you make your quota.
What happens if I don't make it? What's the idea of the speed up?
I forget now. For the good of the state.
Hey, where are you taking my pal?
Get back to work.
Says you. I'm going to organize a real union in this sweatshop. The state can't push me around. What a joint. Everybody's a slave. I want my freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, freedom to strike. I'm gonna strike. I want justice. Where are you taking me?
To the Minister of Justice to get you a little justice.
Will you check my figures,
The side of Gemini says production
It's
should rise.
positively brilliant, but then you're Virgo, and of course you're brilliant.
Transportation is improving.
Next year we'll have tracks
Now
for the
that we've
trade.
controlled honey, we'll have to eliminate every third bee
Boys
colony.
have done a marvelous job on the entire plan. We'll file it temporarily.
Beg pardon, Your Honors, but this guy wants a little justice.
You said it. I want...
Oh, heavens, we haven't had a complaint for so long. I've forgotten. What'll I do?
Just study the stars, old fellow.
Amazing. Astounding. I see Yes, it's becoming apparent. The face of the complainant is appearing from behind a most unfavorable sign. Most regrettable.
Get me a lawyer. Where's my congressman?
Ready?
Get my senator. You can't bump a guy off without a fair trial. It's unconstitutional.
Aim.
You'll pay for this, you fugitives from an anthill. Help! Get the exterminator man! Get the DDT!
Fire!
Yes, my good friends, the ants have much to teach us. Our antiquated American freedoms must be replaced by state planning boards who can establish controls that will guarantee...
Listen, folks, this dope's off his rocker. Now let me give you the real lowdown on them ants. Now, at first glance, this might look like a hick town. But make no mistake, you're looking at one of the country's most progressive industrial communities. Maybe you folks might like to meet a few of our most successful business tycoons. Grocer, barber, merchant, the cobbler, and Mr. Moneybags himself, the stalwart guardian of our hard-earned savings. Meet Pop Webfoot, who owns our oldest corporation. Now, Pop had everything his way until Mr. Redcomb, our most successful manufacturer, opened up a new business right across the street. These two guys are always fighting for the favors of that most desirable, sought-after female, sometimes known as Mrs. Consumer. Pop Webfoot is my boss. The industrious-looking fella in the corner, that's me. Well, Pop's a nice guy, but kind of old-fashioned in his way of doing business. Across the street, though, that sharpshooter Redcomb really uses his wits to glom onto our customers. However, Mrs. Consumer, who's usually loyal to her old friends, drops in to take a look at one of our special bargains.
My, Mr. Webfoot, you certainly have the most exciting merchandise.
This little toaster is really a humdinger. Use only the best materials.
And hire only the best help.
Why, it's amazing. So reasonably priced, too. Only 50 cents.
It's impossible to buy such a quality toaster for less.
You're welcome to Redcomb's home of better bargains. You see our revolutionary new model, toast 4 slices, both sides, only 50 cents. Yes, I said only 50 cents.
Why, Mr. Redcomb, it's so much nicer than Mr. Webfoot's. And for the same price, too. How can you do it?
Very simple, my dear madam. Step this way, if you will, please. The secret of my success is simply that I plow back some of my profits into new tools of production, which enables my workmen, by more efficient methods, to produce more and better toasters. This allows me to sell them at the same price as my competitor, a certain little skinflint who is too tight to reinvest his profits as I do.
Oh, you must be getting richer and richer every day.
Naturally, madam, I'm in business to make all the money I can for myself.
But any successful businessman
knows he has to plow some of his profits back to improve his product, or some hard-hitting competitor will drive him to the wall.
Oh, I think big business is just too fascinating.
Well, the boss stuck his bill into somebody else's business and learned what to do with his profits. He discovered that in order to beat Redcomb's time with a certain bargain-hunting female, he had to spend his profits on research to develop machines and tools to turn out a new and better toaster. Hey, boss, I think I got it. This time it's gonna be a little beauty.
A little beauty. All my profits turned into junk.
Guess we need a new knuckle bolt.
Knuckle bolt. Knucklehead! At this rate, I'll go bankrupt.
Gotta spend profits to make profits, boss.
Gotta spend profits to make profits. Oh, how I hate you, you picky, demanding, unreasonable, hard to please, price and quality conscious, desirable, attractive, wonderful necessity to business. Oh, how I love you. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Maybe we ought to quit.
But Pop wasn't finished yet. He went to work to raise some new capital to build better machinery and expand the business. Of course, anybody knows banks gladly loan money, providing the business promises a profit, and providing your collateral is as good as gold. You see, when a business promises a profit, some people invest their savings in preferred stock. Other folks buy common stock. Why, it's a cinch to raise capital to expand business if you can convince investors that there'll be profits to pay dividends, cash on the barrelhead. Well, Pop finally made it. The factory expanded and made a lot more jobs for everybody. Those new machines licked the bugs in the toasters, and increased production brought the boss higher sales and higher profits. And I got a raise. Since I'm a top man, and the boss decided to fix up the joint to keep me happy. And the machines bought with the new capital turned out enough stuff to cut down my working hours. Finally, Pop Webfoot had a product that knocked Mrs. Consumer for a loop.
It's beautiful.
Allow me to demonstrate. By simply placing the loaf of bread against the revolving blade, it is sliced to the desired thickness. The treadmill conveys the slice to the revolutionary heating element, where it is toasted to a tender golden brown. The dust-free approved broom spreads the melted golden butter, and the patented ejector projects the delectable slice onto the lady's plate, all with an absolute minimum of fuss and bother.
Why, Mr. Webfoot, your little beauty is a must for every housewife. I want one now. Wrap it up.
At last, she's mine. Oh, mine!
Now, ladies, grab your pocketbooks. It's sensational. The new miracle product, Redcomb Super Duper Potato Peeler. And with the simple attachments that come with it, Redcomb's Miracle Potato Peeler is convertible to a hairdryer, foot warmer, wall heater, pants presser, and countless other household necessities.
There she goes again. There's one gal who knows what she wants. Just take a look at her kitchen. All the latest gadgets. How did they get there? Profits put them there. Yep. Profits in business make it possible for every consumer in the country to have more and better goods at lower costs. I guess most everyone knows our Mrs. Consumer is pretty lucky. Especially when she happens to have such an intelligent, industrious family man for a husband.
America is a land of many giants. Some of these giants are the industrial concerns that each year turn out billions of dollars worth of goods and services. These industries are guided by skilled managers of mass production and mass distribution, the giant force which delivers the outpourings of farm and factory to retail outlets all over the nation. But the managers of every business, no matter how successful it may be, tremble when the shadow of a certain giant passes by. This giant casts his shadow over every business in the land. A snap of his fingers, and industries vanish. A wave of his hand, and new ones appear. And who is this colossus? This earth shaker? Edgar Q. Smith, that's who.
Hey, that's me. I'm Edgar Q. Smith.
Right, Edgar. You're the littlest giant, but the most powerful of all, the American consumer. Each year you consume fantastic amounts of food, clothing, housing, amusements, appliances, and services of all kinds. This mass consumption makes you the most powerful giant in the land. And you have the best tools in the world to work with. On the job, that is. These tools make you the world's most productive worker. And the money you earn gives you the purchasing power that makes you a real giant.
What do you know? So I'm a giant.
Uh-oh. Looks like you'll have to apply a little of that important purchasing power. But when Ed goes to buy the brush he needs, just give him a chance, and like most of us, he'll buy a lot of other things which couldn't be called exactly essential. So the loose money in Ed's pocket usually doesn't last for long. Then how can Ed Smith, consumer, maintain a savings account and still make all the big purchases that support the nation's industry? How can he plan on sending a boy through college and still buy these major appliances? And minor ones as well. Well, the big reason is that Ed can buy the things he needs and wants on a pay-as-you-go basis by using consumer credit that is available to him in many forms. His service credit, for example. He doesn't think of it as credit when he pays his utility bills only once a month instead of from day to day. Or when his doctor and dentist bill him monthly instead of collecting at each visit. He has sales credit and can open a charge account, buy things on time. And for things that need actual cash, he also has cash installment loan credit. Yes, a lot of this credit is taken for granted today. But things weren't always this way. Ed's great-great-grandfather, for instance, never even heard of cash installment loans. For one thing, cash wasn't nearly as important in those days, when a keen eye and an ounce of powder were all you needed to put meat on the table. In colonial times, families produced the necessities of life with their own labor. Even when they moved west, cash wasn't very important. Neighbors could help each other with most things. A man didn't need much cash when he could trade the things he produced himself for whatever he needed. But then people began moving into cities and working for wages. Now, cash became very important. Matter of fact, cash was absolutely essential to pay for the necessities of life. And even in those good old days, emergencies were always coming up that required extra cash. But a fellow who needed cash then was really in a tough spot. No institution at that time had enough faith in the integrity of the little guy to make him a cash loan. The only source of loan credit for lots of people was this character, the illegal lender, the loan shark. However, the fellow who needed a cash loan wasn't without friends. Businessmen and others saw the need for a legitimate source of loan credit. They went to legislators in various states and together worked out a solution for the problem, which was really getting pretty serious. Several states passed small loan laws, all of which had certain things in common. The maximum size of the loan was set by law. The maximum rate of charge was set by law. Charges were to be made only on the unpaid balance, and the loan could be repaid at any time without penalty. So borrowers quickly sought the protection they needed. Consumer finance, founded on a firm belief in the integrity of the American family, meant the end of the loan shark. After this pioneering effort, other lending agencies entered the field. Today, there are many sources of loan credit, each with its place in the credit community. Consumer finance companies specialize in cash installment loans, made on a personal basis with little or no security required. Over 9,000 of these offices make more than 10 million loans each year, one for every 7 families in the United States. Most borrowers are just like Ed, stable citizens of the community. They borrow money for lots of reasons: to pay for moving expenses, for the upkeep and repair of homes, to help a son or daughter through school, or to aid friends and relatives. Some people borrow cash to pay for travel and vacations, and many others use cash to consolidate their bills into one monthly payment they can handle. Others use cash loans to take advantage of timely bargains. Every day, thousands of people just like Ed borrow money from consumer finance companies to pay bills or to make cash purchases. Consumer finance companies provide many services. For instance, the customer learns how to budget his income according to an orderly plan. He learns how to solve his financial problems. And there are many other services, too. Now, to give Ed a better understanding of what it costs to provide all these services, we'll put him in the business of lending money.
Who, me?
That's right. And we'll give you $100,000.
Oh, boy!
To lend, Ed.
Oh, boy.
And let's say you specialize in large loans to businesses and corporations. After you check on the company to see if it's a good risk, you lend your $100,000 all at once. You enter this one loan on your books. At the end of the loan period, the money is repaid. Now, what must you charge that borrower to pay for your cost of doing business and earn a reasonable profit?
Good risk, one set of books, small staff, handled the loan just 2 times.
Let's figure it out on this little daisy computer.
Well, with my low cost of doing business on this one big loan, I can charge a low rate and still earn a profit.
Now, if you're going to loan $100,000 in the consumer finance business, instead of one big loan, you'll have to make nearly 500 individual loans. All applications have to be processed, too, whether you make loans or not. You need a lot of help to do this, as well as to keep track of the payments every month. And because you have a personal service business, personal service is what you have to give. By the time your $100,000 has been repaid, those 500 loans will require more than 10,000 bookkeeping transactions.
So now what's your cost of doing business?
Well, with hundreds of loans and thousands of transactions, it's bound to be higher.
That's right. If you're in the business of making big loans to a few people, it's a kind of wholesale operation. Making loans in small amounts to a lot of people is a retail operation. So your rate of charge will have to be enough to pay for all the services you provide
and earn a reasonable profit. Now, Ed, you've had some first-hand experience in this business. And remember, every one of these borrowers is just like you. They need and must have cash credit available through consumer finance companies to get cash to buy the things they need and want for better living. Consumer loans in the hands of millions of American families add up to tremendous purchasing power. Purchasing power that creates consumer demand for all kinds of goods and services that mean a rising standard of living throughout the nation. Each year, consumer finance companies pump billions of dollars into the economic bloodstream of the country to help create the giant who is responsible for the success of big and small businesses throughout the land. Wherever his shadow passes, constructive growth is the result. And who is this giant? None other than the American consumer. The littlest, yet the most powerful giant in the land.